Hey friends, welcome to the third episode of the Sunday Knitting Society podcast. My name is Chelsea and I am a knitter in Oklahoma City. If you're new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. So happy to have you back here again. So the weather has finally cooled off a little bit, not a lot. It is currently, I think it's like 75. It was 73 when I started getting all my stuff together to record today. So I am wearing a sweater. I will talk about this in a minute. I don't know how long it's going to stay on because I have like windows open to kind of cool off my house, and it's still starting to get a little toasty. So I will leave it on as long as I can, but there may be an outfit change in the middle of this podcast. So the other thing to note is I got my COVID booster and my flu shot yesterday, and I actually was going to record yesterday, like right after I got my boosters, so that I wouldn't have any of the side effects of those, but the timing just did not work out. So I'm a little tired today and a little sore, but totally worth it. But if I look a little, or if I seem a little bit more chill, that's why. It's because I really need a nap, and my dogs do not sleep past 6:30 ever. So, today, so I was this week as I was kind of preparing, I was thinking, oh man, I don't have much to talk about. Like I only have one FO. It's little, and I don't know, I was kind of like, oh, should I put it off another week? And so I just started putting things on this guest bed to kind of see what I had to talk about, and realize I actually have a lot. So yeah, so there's a lot to talk about. I have a couple whips, 3 whips. I've got some yarn that I purchased. I've got some yarn that I was gifted for a giveaway, which is very exciting. And I got one other little thing to talk about, and that's it. Okay, whatever. Oh yeah, so one other thing I thought I would do or start doing on this podcast is talking about some of the yarn I have behind me. So I obviously love to buy yarn. I think I've already mentioned this, but I saw a meme or something that said that knitting and buying yarn are 2 separate hobbies. I feel that. But I think yarn stashes are very personal. I think some people, regardless of your means, some people like to have a really big yarn stash. Some people don't. Some people having a big yarn stash stresses them out. Some people having not enough yarn stresses them out. So I think it's a very, very personal thing. But I will be honest, sometimes I look at this and I stress out because there's all this beautiful yarn behind me, and I either bought it for a purpose or I bought it without a purpose, and it's just sat there for some of the stuff for like years. And I mean, I'd have to have at least a year off where I did nothing but knit to get through this stuff. And I think I maybe probably couldn't. It'd probably take me a couple years. And that's just not reality. Anyway, so but yeah, I thought maybe what I'd start doing is just pulling out one of the yarns or sweater quantities or groupings or whatever on these shelves behind me and talking about them each week and seeing if you guys have any ideas, or if I like know what I'm gonna make, I'll talk through that. Like this week, I think I have an idea what I want to do with some of it. But that way, I don't know, that way I can have some accountability to kind of work through this stash. But also encourage you that if you have a big stash as well, that you shop your own stash, and so that we're not always purchasing new, but that we're also using what we have. So anyway, I'm gonna get a little drink of water. I have been drinking almost exclusively coffee for the whole week. It's really not good for your kidneys. But yeah, with the weather changing, I felt like I needed something. I don't drink my coffee hot. Maybe a weird thing about me, or quirk of me. Maybe that's a nicer way of saying it. I will make black coffee and then drink it all day. literally breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It does not matter what time of day it is. I don't get hyper from coffee. It actually kind of like mellows me out a little bit. It helps me focus because I have just a little bit of ADHD. Um, but yeah, it's bad when you're like waking up in the middle of the night with dry mouth because you haven't had any water in 3 days. Yeah, so I'm gonna try to drink this entire thing. Try to do that today. At least maybe 2 of them. That might be a bit ambitious. So anyway, let's talk about this sweater. So this is my first no frills sweater. This is knit. I actually have an extra mountain of yarn on my bed just fell off. Shoot. Oh, don't need it. Oh gosh. Okay. I was looking at that thinking it's gonna fall. And yeah, it did. I should probably actually. I just prevented a second avalanche. Okay, so this sweater is knit in Woolfolk Tinned. And let's see, what color is it? It's color 27. I'm gonna be real honest, I don't like it when yarn dyers number their yarn. I think that's unimaginative and boring. And it's also just not descriptive because this is like such a beautiful, like golden ochre. I don't know. It's just so pretty. But it's 27. So anyway, so this is like super fine merino. I think it's like the tiny micron. Oh, what is it? Sure, it says on here, right? Yeah, it's a 100% Ovis 21 Ultimate Merino wool. Anyway, I don't remember how many skeins I used for this sweater. This was actually, I knit this back before PetiteKnit had expanded her sizes to become more size inclusive. And I was actually, I believe, the largest size at that point. And that was even just a little bit snug for me. Like, it's not really snug, I guess. It's just a little bit less ease than I normally like. The other thing I will say about this yarn, and the reason this sweater hasn't gotten as much wear as it should, is that this thing pills like nothing else I've ever knit before. I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can see it. Like, look at all that pilling. I have depilled this thing like 30 times. You can see it over here. Like, if you can, yeah, you can see that. If you wear a crossbody purse, forget it. It's just gonna be a line of pills. So this thing just ends up looking really shabby after a while. It is the softest yarn I've ever knit with. Honestly, that tank top I made the first episode, I should make it out of this because this is next to skin, cozy, amazing yarn. I just wish it didn't pill so much. But yeah, so somebody had asked me last week, I think, what the difference between the no frills and the Monday sweater are. And there aren't a ton, if I can remember right. They're both top-down raglans. I believe they're both the same gauge, like it's 21 stitches per 4 inches. I don't think I met gauge with this. I think this is actually smaller gauge because this is like fingering weight yarn, and I think it's supposed to be a DK. So I think I knit a bigger size on my Friday. I also knit different yarns. This is not Friday, this is my Monday sweater. And for somebody asked me how my coloring worked out. I thought I talked about it last time, but if I didn't, the color blocking is still there. Did not work. I'm still gonna wear it though. I still like it. But yeah, so the Monday sweater has a folded neckline or collar. And I think it has like a more pronounced raglan, whereas this guy just has a very like one line raglan. I think the body on this isn't quite as big or as boxy as it is on the Monday sweater. So if you're going for a boxier fit, I think the Monday sweater is better, but they're the same gauge. They're same construction for the most part. I just, in my experience, the Monday sweater is a little bit boxier. Actually, just for completeness sake, One of the other no frills sweater I made was this one, and it's out of like the super rustic, lovely yarn. So just to show like, ultimate luxury, whatever, super fine micron yarn, rustic. And this one was from Stonewall. This was a special. This was Border Leicester wool, and it was a limited edition. And it is like, it's soft, but it is scratchy. I guess that's kind of contradictory. It's squishy and soft, but it definitely has some of those little wiry hairs that make knits really itchy. But this is what it looks like in a more rustic yarn. And this is what it looks like in a very, very soft yarn. This thing does not pill. One tick for the rustic yarn. But yeah, okay, so one other thing about this sweater that maybe limits how much I wear it is when I bound off this sweater, I don't know what I was thinking. This has zero flexibility. I have to be so careful every time I put this sweater on because I'm so afraid I'm gonna like pop the hem and just ruin it. I mean, I guess I have extra yarn. I guess I could just like rip it out and reknit it. But I don't even remember when I knit this thing. It's been a while. And it hasn't disintegrated yet, so we're just gonna keep wearing it. I tend to wear this over dresses, but it's honestly soft enough. You can wear it next to skin. It has absolutely no itch. It is like, you could like wrap a baby in this thing and they would be super happy. I mean, most of the time they sleep anyway though. Alrighty, so that is what I'm wearing. I have one FO and it is tiny, but it is adorable. So this is my last baby hat. So this, I want to say this was all knit in Sweet Fiber Cashmerino. It's like the fingering weight one. I don't remember. I think it's Cashmere 20. I one time bought an entire sweater's quantity of the fingering weight yarn on accident because I didn't realize it was fingering weight and I wanted the worsted weight. It was very sad. So always check your weight of yarn before you buy it. But yeah, this is just a cutie little hat. And so now I have the little trio of hats. They're so cute. And these are so easy to knit. Like, piece of cake. Take you a day. Probably if you're a fast knitter, this will take you like a couple movies, maybe. I am not a slow knitter, but I am an ADHD knitter. And so I have to stop and go do things for a little bit. So it ends up taking me longer. Oh, sorry. Every time someone drives by, I forgot I left another window open in my house and it like caused one of the doors to slam. I thought it was a ghost. But anyway, every time someone drives by, they send like a big gust of cool air in here and it feels lovely. So hopefully you guys can't hear people drive by. Sorry if you can, but I'm not shutting the window because I will die. Okay, so let's talk about my whips. Get this guy disentangled. I'm going to try really hard not to drop a stitch on this because it'll break my heart. Not really, but it'll just be a pain in the butt. So this is my Alpenglow. I finished the body. Puzzle. So I love this. I think it's really pretty. I have one ball of my spin cycle left. So this is my Dead Reckoning. And this is just the podcast where I drop things or cause avalanches. It's cool. So the spin cycle, the skein that I used on the body had very low contrast. So like up close, you can see that it kind of morphs from like turquoise to purpley to blue. But from far away, it's not as obvious. But this skein that I was going to use for the sleeves has huge differences. And so I was kind of worried if I knit one sleeve at one, all in one, and then I went and knit the other sweater or other sleeve, they wouldn't match at all. And so while I am not typically a micromanager of spin cycle, I am knitting my sleeves 2 at a time. So I got a pair of US 5 shorties, just because I actually didn't have these in my stash. And the body of the sweater is knit on a 4, but I've learned my lesson from my, what's the name of the sweater? Even fall. I've learned my lesson from the even fall, and so I went up a needle size for the sleeves. So what's tricky though is she has like a chart for when you do your decreases, because you have to be careful not to screw up the blips. And so I have a little counter thing, and so I'll do like 2 rounds of blips and then click the rows or the sequences, and then come over here and catch up. And it's working out okay. This is actually knitting up a lot faster than I thought, because I started this last night. Y'all, I decided for some reason last night to watch the Da Vinci Code. Never seen it. Like, I'm very, very late to the party. But that movie is weird. Like, really weird. I mean, religious stuff aside, it was just weird. So I like watched it and I was like, this is, I don't know about this. But I got a decent amount done. I will say, I only worked on this while watching that movie. I hadn't started it before the movie, so it doesn't look like that much, but it is fingering weight yarn. It says sport, but let's be real, it's fingering weight. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I am a little bit panicked about finishing this in time for Rhinebeck, because today's the 1st and Rhinebeck is on 15th, but I leave before that. So I really don't want to be doing hotel room blocking, but I learned a trick recently, which is part of my second whip, so I'll pull that up. So I am in a test knit for the Dartmoor sweater by Caidree. Super pumped to be in this test knit. I applied for it and I honestly did not think I was going to get chosen, because I think she had like 200 or 300 applicants, which is bonkers. Oh, it's not. It actually makes plenty sense, because it's beautiful, but it's just bonkers that she had that many people to pick from and pick me. But this sweater has already been a bit of a saga. And I'll get to that, but what the trick I learned, this thing got blocked yesterday. This entire very bulky, lovely sweater got blocked yesterday. I literally, yesterday afternoon, put it in the soak. So the trick is you get like a mesh bag, or I didn't have that. I had like a muslin bag that Hohi & Co bag came in, like the jacket for the bag. You put your wet garment in that, and then you put it in your washing machine. I put it in with a few towels on the spin and drain for the centrifuge cycle. It's like mine is like a 13-minute cycle, and by the time it came out, it was almost dry. And it was perfectly fine. Like, not stretched out, not distorted. Literally game changer for me, because this dried overnight. So let's talk about the saga of this test knit. I will say up front, the saga is not in the least the fault of the designer. It is 100% my fault. So let's go. Okay, so, oh shoot, did I bring it up here? Yes, I did. Okay, so the gauge that this sweater is knit at, I believe it's 15 stitches per 4 inches. And she knits it in some beautiful yarn that was just, it's not necessarily out of my budget, but like, I'm trying to be mindful of what I'm buying before I go to Rhinebeck, because I know I'm going to spend a lot of money at Rhinebeck. So I didn't really want to spend a ton of money on yarn. So instead of using, so she calls for La Mana Como Grande. I lived in the South for too long. Anyways, he uses Lamana Como Grande and Premia Fingering from Lamana. I think that's right. I've used Lamana Como on a sweater before, and it is delightful. But it was going to cost me almost $300 to buy all the yarn I needed, and just I didn't want to do that. So instead, okay, I bought this yarn, Serrano, from Gerarium Natura, because it's a bulky weight, and they quote 15 to 13 stitches per 4 inches on here. So I thought this would be perfect. And I bought it from Espace Tricot, who their shipping is wonderful. And I actually ordered it in a different color and then started looking at projects in that color and did not like it. And so I actually emailed them and asked if I could switch it out for this, which is Nui. Right. I thought it was Nui, but this says Poussin. What color I bought? Where'd it go? No, it's Nui. It's night. Okay. What does that mean? I don't know. My French is not that good. Somebody pointed out that, oh, it's all the way up there. I'm not getting it. But the very first episode, I was talking about Gilead, not Gilead, the fine one of this. And I said, biche means twig. No, it means doe. It means a female deer. I knew that, but I said it wrong. Anyway, so bought this yarn. If you've never knit with this yarn, I will tell you, it is not really a pleasant tactile experience. This yarn is like almost like felted. It's super thick, felted, and I did not enjoy knitting with this. Part of the problem was I was knitting on smaller needles than recommended for this yarn, and the fabric was, I'll be honest, it was awful. I hated it. It was tight. It had zero drape. I didn't look like I was getting gauge, but I was like, let's just block it and see. It gets a lot better with blocking. Like, it's almost a completely different fabric with blocking. So this is my swatch. And for those of you who say that your swatch isn't tall enough, you're right. I hate knitting swatches. I do it, but I hate it. And so the maximum I get to is 3 inches in length, and then I'm done. So I think this one is like 2. I figure I can average it over 2. So anyway, so it's really pretty. But this came in at 13 stitches per 4 inches. And I could have gone down a needle size, but I was knitting this on a US 9, and I already did not like how stiff it was. And it's still, like, it doesn't have a ton of drape. It's still a pretty stiff fabric. And so I just knew, like, going down a needle size was going to make this a miserable experience. So I chose not to do that. So what I did instead, oh, I left it over there. Okay, so I had some Pearl Soho worsted twist and some broom. Broom I do have up here. Broom, you can see that. So this is mohair, wool, and silk. It's kind of like a sport weight. I think I've shown it on here before. Yeah, I showed it last week because I was asking about the sparkly yarn. I didn't end up doing anything with that. So yeah, it's kind of a thicker mohair, has wool in it, but it perfectly matched my worsted twist color. And the worsted twist I thought was going to be a little bit too small of gauge. Yeah, too small of gauge. So I figured if I put it with this, it'd be perfect. And so I did that. I liked it. It looked pretty. So I thought, okay, matte gauge, let's do it. Let's go. So I knit the whole back of the sweater. So this, I'm continuing the theme of dropping everything. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. So yeah, so this sweater you knit because it's a drop shoulder construction, so you knit the back, then you pick up the sleeves or the shoulders, and then you join in the front, and then you join in the round. So it's really important to make the armholes long enough and that you have enough stitches to pick up for the armholes that your row count is good as well as your stitch count. So I got to the back and I was having a lot of difficulty with gauge on this. And so I thought, okay, I'm just going to put it on a barber cord and I'm going to steam block this sucker and just see if steam blocking is going to fix it. And what I discovered when you steam block this thing is it felts. It just totally, like, this is like one big piece of felt and it's like caught. So it's just, it doesn't look that bad on here, but I don't know if you can see it. Like, it's just, it feels nice. I will say that. It feels very soft. But you can hardly distinguish stitches on it. It's just so felted and I don't like it. And I will say the wool component in the broom yarn pills, but like it almost like creates little dust bunnies or something. That doesn't make sense. But it'll just like, you'll have clumps come off. And I was just so disappointed in this, and it knits up relatively quick because it's at a pretty big gauge, and so I just thought, screw that, I'm not knitting any further. So I was kind of torn. I didn't know, should I try to buy some just regular mohair that'll match, because Pearl Soho does make a regular mohair. They're Tessa silk, Tessa silk, Tessock silk. It's spelled Tessock silk, which throws me off, or Tessock. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But they sell some of it, and so I thought, okay, like the worsted twist was from my stash, so not costing me anything new. If I bought the mohair to go with it, I think that would have added like $100 or $150, which is not terrible, but considering I just bought the Durum Natura that didn't work, that would have ended up like putting me almost to the same price as if I'd used the yarn from the required yarn, or the recommended yarn for the pattern. So I thought, okay, before I order the mohair to go with this, I'm just going to try knitting it like it's in a swatch on its own. So that's what I did here. So I just knit a swatch with just worsted twist. It is a little bit looser. It has better-ish drape. Can't really tell that from the swatch. But it's soft and it's squishy, and I hit gauge. So I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. So I did. It's really hard to see this close up. So I have the whole body done. I went ahead and blocked it because because it is a drop shoulder construction, so you're going to pick up your sleeves here and knit. And they were kind of rolling in because it's just stockinette. And so I didn't want to have any problems picking up my stitches, but I also didn't want to like knit the length I thought I would want for my arms and then block it and have it be like super long. So I figured this way I would kind of have a better idea of how long I need to knit my sleeves. But I will say this test knitting experience has been awesome. Caidree is so sweet and so kind, and she put us all in a Instagram chat group, and it's such a fun group. I've done one test knit before, and it was all done over email, and like everyone was nice in it, like everyone was helpful and nice, but it's harder to chat in email when it's like reply all, or somebody forgets to reply all. This is just like, it doesn't notify you, so you don't get like dings on your phone, so it's not annoying, but you can just check in throughout the day and like see people's updates, see if people are having problems. If somebody else who's knitting the same size as you is having an issue, you can kind of see if you just talk it out. But Caidree is also allowing people to make some modifications, which I really like. And one of them was that this is not meant for a folded neckline, but somebody did it and it was really pretty. And I thought, well, shoot, I'm going to do that. So I liked it so much with my Monday sweater, I thought I'd do it with this one. And then the pattern tells you to knit the body very long. For my torso, that would have been almost like a tunic length. And I was like, oh, I don't know, like, should I go ahead and knit that long? So I'm staying true to her pattern. But somebody else asked that question and asked if they could make it shorter, and she was like, yeah, no problem, not a big deal. And so yeah, it's just been fun. Like, I've really enjoyed it. This is due like in 10 days. This is where some of my anxiety for getting my Rainback sweater come in, or getting my Rainback sweater done in time for Rainback, because I think this has to be done like a day or two before I leave for Rainback, somewhere around there. Now it's a big yarn, so, or big yarn, it's a bulkier yarn. So I think the sleeves will go very quickly once I pick them up. And now that I know how to block something quicker or dry something quicker, I'm not as worried about it. But I'm literally on Sleeve Island with both of my sweaters, and they're completely different. So one is color work or mosaic color work and 2 at a time sleeves. This one is just like stockinette and bulky. I think I'll be able to do it. I think I can do it. I think these sleeves will take me 2 days max, and then I'll be done. And so then I can get everything woven in and blocked. And I think this is going to be the coziest sweater I own. Seriously. This yarn it's heavy. So this is not a light sweater. This is a pretty bulky sweater, but it's soft. It does attract dog hair like nothing else. I don't know if you can actually see it. I've been really like there's some, not that you really need to see it. I've been like obsessively picking dog hair off this thing. And I think that's just because it's dark colored, and so dog hair is going to show on it. But yeah, it's soft. It's not super pilly so far. It has not felted. She did ask for a tubular bind off or an Italian bind off on the hem, but I really, really hate doing a sewn bind off on a really large circumference. I really, really hate doing it. And since I was already on a little bit of a time crunch, I just decided not to. So I'll probably still do that on the sleeve cuffs though, because I do like the look of it. I don't like doing it on a large circumference. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break and go stand by a fan. All right, so my last whip is, this was I've wanted to knit this for a while, but this was very much an impulse cast on because it's little, and I actually did this, I cast this on because I was blocking the Dartmoor, and I thought I was gonna podcast in a little bit. I don't remember what it was, but I didn't feel like picking up the Alpenglow. So I am doing the penny gloves, and I will try to put a picture here. I have the penny gloves. They're by PetiteKnit. This is what I'm using for it. I'm knitting mine a lot shorter because I'm attempting to knit mine out of this Jamieson and Smith. It's the 2-ply jumper weight and the tussock silk mohair from Pearl Soho. I didn't lose my color bands. I left them downstairs, and I'm not going to go get them. I don't remember what color this is. It was an FC mix, I think. And then this, I believe, is ice blue. And someone had suggested, I don't remember after which episode. There's only been 2, but I can't remember which one it was. I'd said that I am very sensitive to mohair, and they suggested using a mohair that is higher silk content, so like a 60-40, because that tends to be a little less itchy. And the one she suggested was Japanese, and I could not figure out, oh, sorry, breeze. I'm roasting in the sweater. But anyway, so I could not find that yarn, or that mohair at all. And I was going through my stash and realized that the Pearl Soho tussock silk is a 60-40. So that's why I thought, okay, what can I match with it? Boom. I bought a couple of these Jameson Smith, and I also bought color cards. I'm really glad I did this because I'm going to be really honest. The pictures on their website look nothing like these. These are, so they basically put a little tassel for like every one of their colors. And it's like, here's a fun one. So here's all the greens. I bet I could figure out which one this is. I'm balancing this all and I'm going to drop it par for the course. Maybe I can. Okay. Yeah. Actually, I think it's 1280. I think that's what I'm knitting with. I don't know. Obviously, I'm really good with colors. Anyway, so I bought this because I was just curious what Jameson and Smith was like. I have never tried Shetland wool before. I was actually, so I bought this, but then just because I bought a few skeins of this and I left them downstairs and I don't feel like getting them. But I got this, I got like a rust color, a light gray, and then I think I bought a dark green, like a forest green. And I'll say, okay, so these are definitely rustic. There's definitely some tooth to these, but they're really soft, like surprisingly soft. And so I will talk about this later, but I actually bought a cone. I don't know why I just made that face. I've wanted to knit with a cone. I mean, I've knit with a cone. It's cotton, but I like, this just felt very sheepy. I will also say I did not realize that Jameson and Smith is in Lerwick in Shetland, and I know how to say that 100% because I watched the TV show Shetland, which is awesome, and they are from Lerwick, not Lerwick. So when I saw that it came from Lerwick, I was like, oh my gosh, I know that place. Not really, but I know roughly where it is on the map. I know fictional characters who live there. Anyway, so I only have one ball of this. I think it's a 25-gram ball, so it's not a lot of yarn. And I think she knits her penny gloves, like, I think it's like 10 centimeters before you start the thumb gusset. So it's like, it's like 4 inches of your wrist before you start doing the thumb. And I was gonna run out. So I decided to do like 1.5 inches and then start the thumb. And then it's like another 1.5 inches and you bind off. So it's actually pretty nice. It's a tiny project. It's enjoyable. I have no idea what needle size these are on. I'm just using, I did not swatch. That was the other thing. I thought, I kind of wanted to swatch with it to know what it was like with mohair and the Shetland wool. And so I thought, I don't want to knit a swatch. What if I knit fingerless mitts? And that can be my swatch. I can see what the final product is. I should also point out, I forgot to do the beginning of like the first round the way she says to do it in the pattern. And so mine's all rolly. And I didn't realize that until I got literally to like the row I'm on. And I looked at the pattern and I was like, oh, oops, not going back. I'm not ripping out mohair. Okay, so that is all of my whips, literally all of them, because I am so panicked about, not panicked, but like nervous and determined that I will finish my Rhinebeck sweater in time for Rhinebeck. I actually debated just making it a short sleeve for Rhinebeck, and then when I get back finishing it, maybe if there's enough breeze, it'll look like I'm a model. No, it won't. Anyway, what was I just saying? Oh yeah, so I considered making my Alpenglow short sleeved, and then when I get back from Rhinebeck, ripping out the bind off and just finishing the sleeve. But then I looked at the weather forecast for Rhinebeck, and it's gonna be cold. If the weather track stays as it is, I think it's gonna be like the highs in the 50s, maybe 60s. I think it's gonna be 50s. And maybe for some people that's short sleeve weather. It's not for me. So, what should I talk about next? Let's take a break. All right, so that's all my whips. So after last episode, I was contacted by Melody from Morgan Crosswick Yarn Company, and she offered to send me a couple skeins of her yarn to give as a giveaway, which I thought was so cool. So she is a new dyer. She lives in Pennsylvania with her husband, who is Irish, and so her colors and inspiration come from Ireland, which is really cool. The other thing I will say I really like about her website is that she organizes her yarn in collections. And so the yarn I got was from the autumn collection, and it's so nice because everything just matches and coordinates. And I don't know, I really like that. So I got a couple skeins that I'm gonna give as a giveaway. The first one I got it's called Pumpkin Spice. So look how pretty that is. I just think that's gorgeous. And then the second color is October Morning, and this one might be my favorite. Also, but look how well these coordinate. It's like they're almost like mirrors. So this one has like more green with a little bit of orange, and this has all orange with like a little bit of green. I just thought they went so well together. They are so soft, and they have like just the tiniest. I don't think you'll be able to see this. Oh, you probably can't. It's got like a tiny bit of halo on it, which I think it just looks so squishy and lovely. These are big skeins. These are 100 grams, but it's like 410 yards, and it is superwash merino. And oh, it's 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. So I actually, when I got it, I was like, I'm knitting a hat in this. It just looks so, maybe not with this sweater. Like I do this. It looks so autumny. But they look so good together, and I think these would make such a pretty shawl, or cowl, or mittens, or something like that. So I'm going to give them as a giveaway. I'm going to be completely honest. I have absolutely no idea how to do this. I mean, I know how to mail things, but like, I don't know how to do a giveaway. So what I thought was, if you could make a comment in the comments down below of what you like to do in the fall. Like if there's a special tradition you do every fall, or something that you look forward to every fall, put it down there. Let me know. I love fall. It's one of my favorite seasons, and I always like to hear about what other people do. And then I'm going to try to figure out how to use one of those random number generators. I don't think the using it is hard. I think what's difficult is like, how do you know, like, do you have to count all the comments? If anybody hasn't answered this, please tell me, because I've never understood that, and I want to make this as random and like unbiased as possible. I don't want to like pick people because I like their comment. I want to pick people because they were the number generated. But I also don't want to have to count a lot. I guess I could count a lot. I'm a knitter. I count stitches. I can count names. But so I will send this anywhere. I can't send this to Australia. I've tried to look up how much it would cost to send like a padded mailer to Australia, and I think it starts at like $40. And like, I'm not doing that. So if somebody knows a cheaper way to ship to Australia, please let me know. I would love to be able to include people from Australia. And actually, I say that it really, like, if you're not Canada or Mexico, probably just US. So the Northern America. I hope that makes sense. International shipping is just way too high. So I hope to fix that. I hope that's not always the case, but like, until I figure this out, we're gonna keep this as a US, Canada, Mexico giveaway. So I'm really sorry if you don't live in one of those places, but I'll figure this out at some point. But yeah, so leave a comment. I'm trying to think of how I'll give it. I'll probably just give it away in the next podcast. Yeah, so it'll still, well, I think, yeah. maybe actually I'll probably I'll give it away before then, because this is like October yarn, so you need this before then. So I will pick a winner next week. So Sunday next week, it'll be, I don't know, what day of the week will that be? I'll put it here. I'm not going to try to do the math. I will pick a winner, and then I will send you a message and let you know that you won. I'll give you a few days to message me back. If you haven't messaged me back after a couple days, 2 or 3 days, then I'll message somebody else. And then I'll get your address and mail it to you. So you can make something beautiful with this yarn, but go give her a look. She's got lots of pretty yarn. She's got some like Halloween yarn right now, which is really cool. And she also, I think, has like an Ireland or Dublin collection, which is so beautiful. Like if you look at her like inspiration photos, it's like, it's so pretty. So very, very big thank you to her for sending me this yarn, and so I can give it to one of you. Alrighty, so the next bit is a mixture of like acquisitions and yarn appreciation. That's what I'm gonna call it for now, I think. Yarn appreciation. Stash appreciation? I'll think about this. So, let's kind of go back. Oh, my arm hurts. I got the COVID booster in this one. I will say the Pfizer booster, much less painful than the Moderna booster. Last time I got the Moderna booster and I felt like death on a stick for a couple days. This one, it kind of feels like I bruised my arm. I got the Pfizer booster this time. Doesn't feel as bad. So, and I don't feel overall as bad as I did with the Moderna booster, but haven't had COVID yet, knock on wood. Anyway, so, okay, so I had this mohair in my stash. This is Knitting for Olive, soft silk merino, soft silk mohair. It's mohair, not merino. I am not normally a big fan of purple. There are some purples I like. I tend to like lavenders more, but I don't like grape purple is not my jam. So I bought this with nothing to go with it. I just bought the mohair, not sure what I was thinking, but I entirely bought it because the colorway name is Unicorn Purple. That's it. That's the whole reason I bought it. And then I got it, and then I was like, what am I going to use this for? I don't really have a lot of purple or lavender yarn. So when I was testing out that Jamieson and Smith, Jamieson and Smith yarn with mohair, I kind of got this idea, like maybe I should knit a fingering weight and mohair sweater. And I know I said before that I don't like mohair sweaters, and that does still stand. But I do like the lightness of them, and I like the halo. And so I'm just really crossing my fingers and hoping we have a very cold winter, because then I can actually wear them. And I'm planning 2 mohair sweaters with the full understanding that I may wear them like once a season, because I just don't like mohair that much, but I like the way it looks. So I had my color card and my yarn, and I literally like went through and matched it up. And so I bought a cone of, what is this one? FC51. Nope, I didn't buy that one. Did I? Yeah, it was FC51. So yeah, so I bought a cone of FC51, which is like this really pretty, kind of dusty. It does lean pretty purple. We're gonna see. I honestly, this was one of those purchases I made right before bed. And the next morning when I woke up, I was like, purple? Really? Your first cone from Jamieson & Smith and you got purple. But I'm hoping that with the mohair, it'll look really pretty and like fuzzy. And I think what I'm gonna make with this is the no frills. I'm gonna do no frills with this. So, it did ship. I don't know if it made it out of the country before the Royal Mail strike, so it may still be a while, but that's fine because I have lots of other stuff I can do. So that is the first one. The second one is mostly yarn that I already have. I would have to buy a few more skeins, but I'm kind of waiting for it to go on sale. So I had, this is Rosewood Pink this is Linen Quill from Pearl Soho. I have 4 skeins of this. I bought this, I think I bought this for a sweater and then realized that I would have to make it a cropped or a shorter sleeve to make, I might be able to eke out a sweater in this, but it would be a pretty lightweight sweater and pretty loose gauge. And so I had, yeah, I had a moment where I was like, this is not the right color. Almost dropped. This is another one of the Tessa Silk from Pearl Soho, and this is Pink Fog. And I thought these looked really pretty together. I think the lighter mohair kind of pulls out some of the linen in there. So I swatched. I'll be honest, this swatch was actually to see if this would work for my Dartmoor. So this is actually double-stranded linen quill with 1 strand of mohair. And I do like it. I ended up not picking it because it's just, you can't tell in this lighting. You think it like, I don't know, you can't tell. I can tell because when the sun's coming in, but basically it's just really, really loose. And I didn't like it at this gauge, but I do like, it is soft. It's really soft. And so I think I could do a sweater out of this. So Pearl Soho does a lot of sales, which I really like. I think it's a very clever marketing ploy because when yarn is on sale and it's a good sale, you buy a lot of it. But I'm restraining myself and waiting till this stuff goes on sale. Excuse me. And once this goes on sale, I will buy a few more of these so I can make probably also no frills. Maybe I'll make a Monday sweater. Maybe this will be a Monday sweater. Or maybe the purple one will be a Monday sweater. I don't know yet. Arm. Okay. Trying to think what to do next. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to take this sweater off because it is starting to get unbearably warm. All right, I'm back. Oh, if you've never been to Oklahoma before, we have a lot of tornadoes in Oklahoma, and they usually happen in the spring. We're well out of tornado season right now, so it's not a big concern, but we have sirens in Oklahoma, all over Oklahoma, that go off to warn you if a tornado is nearby, just because in case someone doesn't have TV or they're not paying attention, the sirens will go off to warn you that you need to seek shelter. But they test the sirens every Saturday at noon. And when I stopped for this break, the sirens went off, and I will try to find a video to put at the end. My dogs howl to the siren every Saturday. Every Saturday. And it is hilarious. It doesn't matter. They will be dead asleep and they hear those sirens and they both start howling like they're calling their people. And sometimes I howl with them, if I'm honest, because it's just too funny. So I had to stop and laugh at them as they howled to the tornado siren. Okay, so there's not really an order of how I'm going through this. I'm just going to grab the next thing. So this is a stash acquisition. There's a lot of it. So Pearl Soho makes linen quill, obviously one of my fave yarns. It literally has a shelf dedicated to it. But they came out with some new colors, which was really exciting. And so I bought some because it was also on sale. So I'll show you. This is the, I guess I should know the color name. Raw Sienna. I was going to say burnt sienna, but it's raw sienna. I don't know. There must be something wrong with my computer monitor because I feel like I often see colors different on my screen and then they show up and it's not the same. I like this. But I definitely thought this was a more greeny tinge when I bought it. I thought I was getting like a greenish golden color, and this is not. This is almost like caramel. What's the difference? I still think it would look good on me, which is good because I bought a sweater's quantity. I actually bought enough to make the daily pullover by Paula Pereira. I'll try to put a picture of that over here. But yeah, So we'll see. But that's probably gonna be after first of the year. I don't think I'll start that really soon, but that's the goal for this yarn. I think it's pretty. I think it almost looks like a tan, or like a camel colored. I think it has a little bit more yellow in it than that, but I still think in the correct lightings, without this thing, with this shirt, well, not without the shirt, but like not clashing against this shirt, I think it could almost look like a camel color, like a tan. I don't know. I just have like a collection of yarn down there. So the other thing, I bought 2 colors, but I didn't get a sweater's quantity for the second one. I bought enough to make half of a half and half wrap. So this one is their other, I think this one is clay, baked earth, close. So that's the other one. This one, I actually kind of wish I'd gotten this one in a sweater's quantity. Maybe not. Maybe this isn't the best color for me, but I still think this would be really pretty in a blanket. I haven't decided what color's going with it. Ow. Yeah. Actually, I kind of like that. It's kind of got deserty vibes. I don't know. That also is going to be some point in the future. And then, okay, the last yarn acquisition I got was actually for a project. So my cousin Amy has now 3 kids, and when she had her first daughter, she messaged me a picture of a stocking and said, "Can you knit this?" And it was actually, she ended up sending me 3, so one for her and her husband and one for their daughter. And there was no pattern, it was just a picture, and it's like all over Fair Isle. And if I can find a picture of them, the finished objects, I will put them up here. Yeah, it was actually really fun the first time I made it, because I had no pattern. I had no grid for my stitches or anything like that. So I like zoomed in on the picture, and I got graph paper and coloring pencils, and went in and just made a grid for each motif on it, and then kind of figured out what my stitch count would need to be, like what my pattern repeats, what they were divisible by. And I think I actually used a stocking pattern from Madeline Tosh. I think it's the honey stocking pattern. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I use that mostly just to get like stitch count, and then for the heel turn, because yes, I think these had a heel turn and gusset, heel flop and gusset. I don't know, now that I don't have them, I've given them to her, so I don't actually remember now. I took notes though. Well, I didn't. I kind of halfway took notes for that round, and then she had a son. And she texted me and said, "Hey, could we get another one?" And sent me pictures. And so this time I took notes, because I was like, in case they have a 3rd child, I will be prepared. I will know what needle size, I will know how many stitches, I will know how long to knit, the length of the leg, how to make them like match. And so she did. She had a third kid, and she sent me a picture, and I will put it up here. And I think it's really pretty. So I bought yarn to start making that. I will probably, once I get back from Rhinebeck, I'll start working on that, or when I get back from my other trip. So I had some leftover white. This is Cascade 220 Superwash. So I had some of this white, so this will be the top. I think this will be enough to like carry throughout the color work, because there's not a whole lot of white. So the other, we're gonna see if I can stack these. It's gonna be, I don't think I can do it. Okay, well, these are the first few. So this is a kind of burgundy plum. This red looks a lot brighter. It's not actually that bright. It's much more of a Christmassy red, instead of that almost looks pink in there. But yeah, it's not that red. So that's the first bit, and then we'll have the orange underneath it. I want to say this one is called burnt orange, and that is a lie. Where is it? Oh, they don't put a number, they just put a color number. Well, I bought it from Eat Sleep Knit, and they had, I think they called this burnt orange, and I grew up in Texas. This is not burnt orange. Okay, so that's the next bit, and then we got the yellow under that, and then the last one is the green. So I've got, I think I can do it. Yeah, so I got all the colors for that. So this will be fun. I don't know if she's planning to have more kids, but I will be prepared with my notes in case she needs more stockings in the future. But it's really fun. I duplicate stitch their name at the top. I think the first time first one I made, I was trying to think like, how can I do this in like stranded color work? Nah, I mean, it was not gonna work out. So I discovered duplicate stitch, and my life got a lot easier. So I have a couple more things, and I'm almost done. I have no idea how long this is because I've stopped, and so I'm hoping this isn't like, actually I say that, when podcasters are like, man, I hope this is a short one, I'm like, no, please don't, please keep talking. This is how I relax. I want you to keep talking about your yearning goodness because I want to keep listening. Okay, so the other one is a stash appreciation, and this has been, I don't know how long this has been on my shelves, probably over a year. So I'm gonna get these in there. So this is Cashmerino Bloom by Pearl Soho, and this is the Night Blue colorway, and it is so pretty. Sharon is so soft. I bought this with no idea. I bought a sweaters quantity with no idea what I was going to make with it, and I will show you kind of where my brain was when I bought the yarn. I don't know if that actually will explain where my brain was, but I'll show you the colors I bought. So I got this palette. I love this color. Okay, this color is Tide Pool, and it's just so like, it's tonal. It's kind of a hard to describe color. I mean, it's kind of looking one note on here, but it's not. There's a lot of variation in this color. And I liked it with this, but I also really liked it with this. I thought these look really good together. And this one is Vintage Jade. This is beautiful. This is not like your typical turquoise. I think this just has a prettier look to it. So I actually bought these three at first, thinking I would make some kind of color work yoke, like Fair Isle thing, and then I thought let's add in this. I think this is heirloom white. Yeah, heirloom white. So I just added that. But then they just came out, Pearl Soho came out with a new collaboration, and I'm not gonna remember their names. I will try to put that in the description box below. If I can figure out how to write text on here, I'll write text on here and tell you who it's by. But it's a collection I can't remember the name of. Oh dear. But it just, all of it looks so comfy and cozy. And I was actually really tempted to buy the whole collection, but I don't typically buy books or collections of patterns, because it's almost like buying a CD. Like back in the day when you bought CDs, you always had like one or two songs that you really liked, and the others you just, okay. I feel like that with pattern books. Like there's always a couple in there that I really want to make, and then the others I'm just kind of ambivalent towards. So I tend to buy them individually. But they have one that's a cardigan, and it's a one color cardigan, and I'll try to put a picture of it up here. Maybe just like make room for the photo. But it has kind of like stages of knitting. And I thought I could do the colors in there and just like work down. I don't know, I thought that'd be really pretty. So I have, if I do it one color, I actually think I miscounted because I ordered another one. I ordered another skein. It actually should be here today. But or maybe it's tomorrow. I don't remember. not tomorrow, it'll be Monday. Whatever. I think I miscounted this and thought I didn't have enough. This is definitely enough for a sweater. But I think this was if I decide to make the cardigan all in one color, and I literally, it feels like I'm holding puppies right now that aren't wiggling. It's just so soft. I'm gonna drop, you don't want to drop a puppy. I think this color is so good on me. I love navies, but it's like, oh, it's just, it's already got, you can't see halos on here. It's so annoying. Oh, maybe you can. You can kind of see, like, yeah, you can kind of see it there too. It's just a little fuzzy. And it is cashmere. It's 75% extra fine merino and 25% cashmere. So really should be called merino cashmere bloom, but whatever. But it's really soft. It probably will be one of those that pills, like my no frills. So, oh well, I'll deal with it. But yeah, I have one more acquisition, but it is not stash acquisition. I use Caidree exclusively to knit with. Oh, pretty much, yeah, exclusively. I have the interchangeables. I actually have 2 sets of interchangeables because the first set I bought was a a 5-inch interchangeable tip, and I used those for years, and then didn't even know there was an option. Like, maybe there wasn't when I bought them, but last year found out that there's a 4-inch tip, and I didn't think I'd like it, but I don't know, it was one of those impulse buys. I just bought it in 2020, I think. I love it. I don't like knitting with the 5-inch tips anymore. I think they're too, like, I just like that the 4-inch tips fit into my hand better. Like, they don't stick out. So, but so now I have 2 sets of needles. I have bought more, like, additional tips for the 4-inchers and the 5-inchers as well. Mostly because I already had the needles busy on another project and decided I wanted to knit something else that needed that size, so I just bought more. Which, whatever. They're a lot cheaper when you just buy the tips. But so I have a lot of needle tips, and I've been trying to keep them all in one of those pouches that Caidree gives you, but I think they are hideous. Like, it is not my jam. Those little Caidree needle cases are just, they're ugly. And I'm sorry, if you love them, great. I will give you mine. Literally, if you're going to Rhinebeck and you want my needle case, let me know. I will happily give you my Caidree needle case, but I don't like them. But I don't want, I didn't want a leather case, just because I actually did. I bought a leather case from Hohi & Co. Probably 4 years ago now, maybe 5. It was right when they came out with them, and I wish I actually, let me go grab it real quick, because I think yeah, let me go grab it. Okay, so this is the Hohi & Co. interchangeable needle binder, or full wallet. I think they call it a wallet. It's exceptionally well made. I have no faults with that. But it's very small, which appealed to me. I don't like really bulky needle cases. I don't love this color. I think they had like this in black. I think they're the only options when I bought mine. They might have more now, but this, I don't like black leather, but I don't love this color either. But I just thought maybe it'll patina with time. So, when you open it up, it's got this little leather case, that, like, cover that snaps down, which is nice. And then you put all your needles in here. And then it's got a little zipper. Oh! Ha! I found my little connector. Dang it. Oh, I've been looking for that. But it's got these little zipper pouches you can put your cables in. And then I do like that they have the zips on either end, so you can, like, if you only want to open one, like if you want to put them in the middle, and then you can just open one at a time instead of having to open everything. That is clever. And when it comes, this is normally really hard to get shut, but I think I've used it enough. So it's very slim when it comes, but then you put all your needles in it and you can barely shut it. Like, it is jammed in there. The other maybe downside I'll say is if you're using really, really fine needles, you can kind of see how far apart the stitching is here. I found that if I put like a US 1 or even like a 1.5 in here, they would start to slip out the bottom. Like, not bad enough that they were like just dropping out, but the tips would start to come through the ends. So I haven't used this in a few years. I guess if anybody wants it, I'm not using it. If you want it, I'll say if you want it and you're coming to Rhinebeck, I will give it to you first so I don't have to mail it. So if that's the case, let me know. We can meet up and I give you this case. If nobody who's going to Rhinebeck wants it and somebody who isn't going to Rhinebeck wants it, let me know. I'll see. It just depends on how much it costs to ship. So, but anyway, so I've been using the ChowGoo case just because it's practical, even though I don't like the look of it. But with my 2 sets in one case, it has been like bursting at the seams. And so I think I saw this on an Instagram ad, and it's from Quince & Co. or Twig & Horn. I think, are they the same thing? Because you can buy Twig & Horn on Quince & Co.'s website. I don't know. But this is my new needle case, and it is so cute. It is a little chunkier. Like, I guess it can kind of, I mean, she's solid. But I like that it's canvas because it does feel a little bit lighter. I don't think you could wash it though because the leather is stitched down on here, so you just have to keep it clean. This, obviously, when this patinas, it won't look as nice. It'll just be stained. But anyway, so you pop it open and make sure I'm not gonna like, okay. So it unfolds like this, and I think somebody had mentioned that one of the reviews had said that like it doesn't fit all their needles. Like, this fits all my tips. I mean, okay, I don't put the like really, actually no I do. Yeah, these are like 15 or US 15s. So it goes from like a 2 to a US 15. And I fit them all in here. And technically you could even go smaller because there's more, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 12 compartments. I guess 13 if you count like the little in ones. So I managed to fit all of my not in use tips in here. I even fit my little fixer tool in there. And then, so when you just fold it over like this and roll it up. Yeah, roll it up and then it goes around and snaps. But I'm gonna try my best to not spill this. So you unzip it, and they're not gonna fall out because they're like wedged in there. But I put all my needles, or my cables, up in here. So, and it actually, it fits them like in their little plastic, which is nice because I do like to keep them organized by length. Oh, that's sad. It almost sounded like, what is it, like kids play at school, the bells at Christmas time? It almost sounded like that. Oh, but not as good. Anyway, so you can like, so I have it organized, let's see. So these are my shortest cables, these are my medium cable, or my longer cables, and then these are my big, like the large size cables. And they all fit. Obviously I haven't kept all of them in their bags because I'm lazy, but the zipper's really doesn't give you a lot of feedback, it doesn't catch, which is nice. And so I will say the little snap is not the easiest, and I think those just get easier the more you use them. I also like stuff this thing full. There we go. Okay, so it's back up. I love the pink color. It does come in like 5 colors, I think. But the other thing that's really sweet or cute or nice about this is that they sell these little iron-on patches. So you can just, like, oh, they have a millimeter. Oh, no, they have it. Okay. So they have, like, the US 6 as a 4mm. And they have it for all of them. And so you get to decide where, like, oh, I'm gonna try really hard not to lose these. But I think this was like $10 to add this on. So let me find one. Here's a good one. So you put like a US 1. It's a 2.5 or 2.25. Yeah, 2.25mm. And so you can choose like how you want to space them out. I decided to wait a little bit and use it for a while and kind of see like where the best place for each one was. But yeah, you just iron them on and then you get like a build your own. So if you decide to buy 2 cases and one is for your like small needles and one's for your bigger needles, you can kind of choose how you want to space them, which I thought was really clever. The other thing about this is it was not outrageously expensive, because that is one of the downsides to the leather cases, is they are pricey. Like that Hoagie case, actually I'm not gonna say because I don't remember how much I spent on it because it was so long ago. But it was definitely, I think it was over 100. Might have been 150. It might have been like 70 though. Honestly, I don't remember. I don't remember how much this was. I think this was $70. So it's definitely an investment, but it's not outrageously expensive. And like I said, they have it in like 5 colors, I think. So you can get it in a very muted color if you want. I think they even have like a brighter color than this. So yeah, so that's everything I have for this week. I've gotten a lot of messages about how to bring yarn home from Rhinebeck, and my original plan was to bring just a carry-on and vacuum bags. So, and like they come with a little pump, and so you can do it yourself. But I was just like, man, I mean, I plan on like fully losing control there and buying a lot of yarn because I've never been to a knitting festival before. I'm very excited about it. So I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit everything in my carry-ons. And then what if I want to buy something like a jar of wool wash, a bottle of wool wash, or something that isn't gonna hit TSA requirements? And several of you suggested that I mail it home. One of you lovely people actually offered to mail it for me, which was very sweet. But so I looked it up, and there's a UPS store very close to the Hutton Brickyards, and it's open fairly late that day. So I figured I could, if I really wanted to, I could just go take all my yarn that I bought from the first day there from Cake Palooza and Wool and Folk and mail that home. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, I'm gonna knock on wood big time here. This could end up biting me in the butt. I'm flying Delta. I fly Delta all the time. They have yet to lose my luggage. And I think with a domestic flight, the chance of them losing my luggage is very small. So I think I'm actually gonna bring a full suitcase, and then just like pack all the carry-on stuff that I don't need for the flight. Just like basically maybe I'll put like some balloons in there or something. That probably sounds like a bad idea because they'll probably pop when we go up in the plane. I'm just thinking of like space so it's not just all rattling around in there. I don't know, I'll figure that out. Maybe it's not a big deal if it all rattles around in there, but it'll be a mostly empty suitcase on the way there. But then I can, if I still bring the vacuum bags, which hopefully with a full-size suitcase I don't need vacuum bags, but I also figure that way I can, if I buy something that's like liquid that's more than 2 ounces, I can just arrive home with it. Because that was one of the things when I get back from Rhinebeck, I might try to do a podcast when I get back. It just depends. I'm getting back on a Sunday, so I might have to like film, edit, upload on the same day. So it might be up later or it might be up on a Monday. But I thought that'd be fun. And that way, if I make it home with my suitcase, I could talk about the stuff I bought there on that podcast. But if I can't do that, if I can't podcast that day, I think the next weekend I will be able to. So it may be 2 weeks, it may be 3 weeks. I'll let you guys know on Instagram when I'm gonna podcast. I just realized I didn't say how you could find me anywhere. I'm so good at this. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm Sunday Knitting Society, and on Ravelry, I'm Raleigh St. Clair. So thank you to everybody who friended me on Ravelry. I don't know how, okay. Ravelry does not make sense to me in that regard, because it's not like Facebook. Because on Facebook, I can see who my friends are and I can see all the stuff they're working on. But when I click on friends on Ravelry, it only shows me the people I've friended. So maybe I should just go back through and friend everybody who friended me. And that way I can see what you guys are working on. I don't know, does that sound weird? Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me, but thank you. That's sweet. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Going to Rhinebeck. Gonna try to podcast when I get back. I'll try to take some footage while I'm there, but I'm gonna be really honest. I am super awkward and uncomfortable filming people. So I feel very sneaky when I'm like filming, and it's not. It's public, and I mean, you can see my iPhone as I'm doing it. But it just feels weird. So we'll see. If I'm feeling like a true podcaster, maybe I'll take some footage at Rhinebeck and at the other yarn festivals. But going forward, I am definitely going to podcast later this month. It might be 2 weeks from now. It might be 3 weeks. We'll have to kind of play that one by ear. But as far as November and December go, I'm going to try to podcast at least every 2 weeks in November. And I think I'm going to try to do it every week in December, because I'm going to be getting a lot of advent calendars, and I thought it would be maybe fun to just go through those. I'm not doing Vlogmas. No, that's not happening. That just makes me tired thinking about it. So I'm not doing that, but I might do like a weekly video, just a shorter one every week, and kind of go through what I'm making. I'm still mulling this over in my head, so this may not happen, but every year, my favorite time of the year is what I call Betwixtmas, which is the week between Christmas and New Year's. And if I can, I always take off from work and sit at home and knit, and like I don't leave the house. I wear pajamas the whole time, but I also do a Christmas Eve cast on, and I try to finish it by New Year's, and it's usually a sweater. So I pick a pattern, start it the day before Christmas, and then just knit. And I thought, I'm not going to do like a formal knit along because I am not organized enough for that. But I thought, if you want to join me, I guess it's a knit along in a very informal sense. Like you can knit, but you don't have to post. You don't have to take pictures. There's no competition. There's no prizes. It's just knit with me. But I thought that'd be fun if you guys want to do a Betwixtmas knit along. And if anybody, actually I was gonna say, if anybody wants to organize it, but no, I'm not organizing that. But yeah, so hopefully I'll see you guys back in a couple weeks. If not, it'll be 3 weeks, and hopefully more frequently after that. I do feel like I'm starting to get the hang of this, although I just discovered an easier way to edit, and so hopefully it's also a good way to edit. But I guess we'll find out when this gets posted. But I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you back in a few weeks.